Bam. I got him.
Maybe would have helped out one more.
That's fine.
You can see it.
All right, Tony is he's the CEO of Zappos, Zappos.com. If you guys have ever heard of it, he's a multi-millionaire. He happens to live in a trailer park in Las Vegas by choice. But something, what struck me with him is that because he just had a dream. He didn't want to make a ton of money. He didn't want to live like a lavish lifestyle. He just had an idea about a business, and that's what I'd like to talk to you guys about today. Just the general ideas of how to start a business by starting with the idea, the business plan, the name, location, taxes, permits, employees, and what follows after. So you got to start off with an idea, right? I decided with this topic because I personally have always had lots of ideas. I'm a business major. It's what I want to do. I start my own company, and I feel like everyone in their lifetime has one idea, even if they're high and they're just oh my god, I have the best idea ever, and you just have this idea that you think could be profitable. But for me, it's always been it always seems just such a daunting task to actually take that next step, and it is quite a bit of work. If you want to start your own business, but you have to start off with your idea. And a quote from Nicole Fallon Taylor from Business News Daily says, "Businesses don't start with simple ideas. They start with problems to be solved and opportunities to do something better. Know your solution and your customer inside and out. Ensure you are passionate about what you are starting because you'll be spending all of your time with it." So generally you kind of have to start with an idea that you think you could either improve something upon or something that you feel might have a need to make people's lives easier or something they want. What's next is you've got to start with a business plan. Now there's full classes in college on how to actually write this massive document that you will bring to banks or investors to actually try to get funding to start your own business, because most people don't have enough money to just invest in their own, parents or stuff like that. So what you got to do, it's essentially just in the Entrepreneur magazine states it's an essential roadmap for business success. And it includes an executive summary, which tells the reader what you want, and the reader being your investor, what you want and what you're asking for. Business description, which is a short description of the industry you're in. Market strategies, which is how to position your company so the defined target market will be exploited and what strategies you'll use to access that market. The competitive analysis, which are your strengths and weaknesses of your competitors. And your design and development plan, which provides investors with a description of the product's design, chart its development, the company itself, and developmental budget that will allow the business to reach its goals. Almost last, you have the operations and management plan, which is how you plan on, managing the company, who's in charge, how many employees you're going to have, where you're going to pay them, and how you're going to run operations on a daily cycle. And last but not least is the financial factors, what potential bumps may be in the way of growth and what is needed to start the company itself. So you end literally with what you're asking from the investor. Then you kind of, once you kind of have your general business idea down, you have to decide what type of business you're going to choose. And there's a lot of different kinds, but I chose 5, which are the general main types. And this is really important because you have to decide who's going to take legal and financial responsibility for your company. And you have to decide who's going to be the main owners and who's going to be running it. So sole proprietorship means you're left alone with the company and you assume all responsibilities. A limited liability is an LLC for short. It offers limited liability features of the corporation, but the tax efficiencies and operational flexibility of a partnership. Partnership is you're just going to have 1, 2, or 3 different owners who you share the responsibilities and legal liabilities. A cooperative is where people form to meet a collective need to provide a service that benefits all member owners. And a corporation is more complex, and it generally is used for more larger companies, like very large scale industries with a lot of different employees, and it's owned collectively by shareholders, so it's public, it's traded on the stock market. Next up, you gotta choose your name. Obviously, it's something that's gotta be pretty marketable, but you can't, it's kinda complicated. You have to choose something that's very original. You have to go to Secretary of State's website and make sure that no one else in your specific state is using that specific name. It's also recommended that you look up domain names. So if you wanna have a website, you gotta make sure that no one else is using whatever name you're trying to use. You have to file articles of incorporation, which state you're gonna go with the Secretary of State's office, which state, the name of the company, the purpose of the company, the location of the company, who the company's owned by, and who will take legal responsibility for the company. And that's just like your basic stuff. So after you file in articles of incorporation, which say officially to your state that like, I am a legal business, this is like what we're gonna be called, and this is who I am, and who you're gonna be taxing. Then you have to choose your location and your taxes and your permits. So depending on what kind of businesses you're gonna have, it depends on the types of taxes that you're gonna need. You're gonna need to file with the IRS. If you have a restaurant, you need to think about liquor licenses. You need to think about what type of permits on types of food you're gonna get in. Like if you open a restaurant in Calabasas and you want it to be a bar, it's important to know the type of permits that are involved there, because if you want to have a bar, there's no smoking outside. It doesn't matter because smoking is illegal in the county of Calabasas. It's important to know, like, especially for construction, if you're in a residential area, you can't legally have business hours past a certain amount of time if you're in a certain area. But how do you like run the company itself? So like what comes next is hiring. You have to choose reliable people. You have to decide what kind of hiring process you're gonna have, what websites you're gonna post jobs on. Are you gonna check for background information? And you need to hire an HR person or employee relations officer, and like to develop all these different things like employee handbooks that we all sign depending on like what job we have. And really after that, it's like you can actually take the leap. What I suggest is really just never stop creating goals. So like once you started, it's not just like there, like the whole point is like to never stop growing and figure out what's next on the list and how you can keep growing. And then last, it's really, you know, we talked about, it's just a review of like, you know, talked about the idea, the business plan, the types of businesses that you need. You need to figure out your location, the taxes and permits that you're gonna have to abide by. And what I'd like to ask you guys to do is really, I feel like it's really easy to just go along with the general idea of like what we're supposed to do, you know, in college. But it's like, if you have an idea, especially something that you're passionate about, like why not make that marketable and make money off of it? Just like my idea, because like I'm passionate about a lot of stuff, but I don't wanna I wanna like make something of it and be able to offer something back. So with that, I'll end. Thank you.